Welcome back to the Creepy and Paranormal Show, the podcast where we explore the fringes of the conventional wisdom and dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Shane Campbell, and today's episode is dedicated to my friend Meg, who's at home currently on medical leave. Meg, I hope this episode keeps you busy and entertains you. Also, a big shout out to our sponsors Homeground Coffee and Invoice Cloud. Now, let's get into today's topic, the Flat Earth Theory. Now, this isn't about debunking or endorsing. It's about understanding why people believe what they believe and exploring the complex world of conspiracy theories. So buckle up as we embark on this journey together. I must just say that it's been an absolute minute since last we've done a podcast episode, coupled with being sick, extremely busy, voting in South Africa. Yeah, it's just been chaotic to say the least. But we are here, we are ready, and I do think that this episode is going to entertain and also just like open up your mind a little bit. It's a really interesting topic, one that I've always been interested in the sense that I'm not necessarily saying I'm a flat earther or a glober or whatever the case may be. I've just never really questioned anything and just gone with the status quo. But this episode might make you think of things a little bit differently. And if that's what it does for you, I'm 100% keen. And also, I really wanted to do an episode for my friend Meg. Like I mentioned, she's on medical leave. This poor lady has been through it all recently, numerous operations. But she continues to just put on a smile on her face and carry on with her day. So anyways, enough ranting and raving from me. Let's get started with the episode. It all started with a simple question. I was at a casual gathering with friends when a girl we will call Sarah, an old schoolmate, brought up a topic that left me both amused and curious. Have you ever considered the possibility that the earth might be flat? She asked. The room erupted in laughter, but Sarah remained unfazed. No, seriously, she insisted. What if everything we've been taught is a lie? I laughed it off then, but her question lingered in my mind. What if, indeed? I consider myself a man of logic and reason, a rather deep thinker when it comes to questions like these. So the idea of a flat earth seemed absurd. Yet, curiosity got the better of me. I decided to investigate, not because I believed the earth was flat, but to understand why some people did. My journey began with a simple Google search. Flat Earth Theory. The results were overwhelming. Websites, forums, YouTube videos. There was no shortage of information. I clicked on the first link, which led me to a website dedicated to the Flat Earth believers. The site was a mix of scientific jargon and emotional appeals. Arguments about the horizon always appearing flat. Questions about the legitimacy of NASA's photographs. And claims about airline flights past being inconsistent with the spherical Earth. My logical mind immediately picked apart the arguments, but I couldn't deny the passion and conviction with which they were presented. This curiosity quickly turned into a nightly ritual. I found myself diving deeper into the Flat Earth community. I joined forums, watched debates, and even attended a local Flat Earth meetup. What struck me the most was not the content of the theories, but the people themselves. They were not the fringe, tinfoil hat wearing characters that I had expected. They were ordinary individuals, teachers, engineers, artists, each with their own reasons for questioning the status quo. At the meetup, I met Mark, a former physics teacher who had lost his job after openly supporting flat earth theories. Mark's story was compelling. I used to teach the standard model, Mark confessed over coffee, but the more I looked into it, the more questions I had. Why can't we see the curvature of the earth from an airplane? Why do some ancient maps depict the earth as flat? I couldn't ignore these questions. Mark's sincerity was palpable, and I felt a twinge of doubt. Could there be more to this than I'd initially thought? My nights were consumed with research. I meticulously noted down every claim and counterclaim, comparing them with established scientific knowledge. One argument that particularly intrigued me was the idea that gravity was an illusion. According to the flat earth theory, what we perceive as gravity is actually the earth accelerating upward at 9.8 meters per second squared. It was a wild concept, but it made me think about the nature of belief and perception. How much of what we accept as truth is based on trust in authority? To find answers, I reached out to an old acquaintance, Dr. Emily Lang, an astrophysicist at a nearby university. She welcomed me into her cluttered office, filled with books, star charts, and scientific instruments. So what's this I hear about you exploring flat earth theories, she asked, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. I explained my journey. From that initial question to my deep dive into the flat earth community, Dr. Lan listened patiently, occasionally nodding, and when I finished, she leaned back in her chair. It's good to question things, Shane. Science itself is built on skepticism and inquiry, but it's also important to distinguish between skepticism and denial. She went on to explain how scientific consensus is reached. It's not about taking things on faith, she said. It's about evidence and reproducibility. For instances, the curvature of the Earth can be observed through various means: satellite imagery, long-distance photography, even simple experiments with shadows and sticks. Now, Dr. Land showed me some data and photographs from her own research. She explained how gravity was measured and why the concept of the Earth accelerating upwards was inconsistent with observable phenomena like planetary orbits. I felt a sense of reassurance, but also a lingering doubt. I trusted Dr. Lang, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I needed to explore further. I thanked her for her time and promised to keep in touch. Determined to gather empirical evidence, I decided to undertake a journey. I'd read about an experiment proposed by flat earth proponents, the Bedford Level experiment. Conducted in the 19th century, it aimed to prove the Earth's flatness by observing a straight 6-mile stretch of water. The original experiment had concluded with a flat result, but subsequent repetitions under more controlled conditions had shown the curvature of the Earth. I travelled to Bedford, equipped with modern tools, high-powered telescopes, GPS, and laser levels. I meticulously set up my equipment along the old Bedford River, determined to conduct the experiment myself. As I observed through my telescope, I saw the top of a distant boat gradually disappear from view, confirming the curvature. Yet even with this evidence, I felt a strange reluctance to dismiss the flat earth theory outright. It wasn't just about the science anymore. It was about understanding why people believed what they did. Returning home, I reflected on my journey. I gathered evidence, spoken to experts, and immersed myself in the flat earth community. I realized that the allure of the flat earth theory was not just about the shape of the planet. It was about trust, authority, and the nature of belief. I remembered a conversation I'd had with my friend who had sparked my initial journey. "It's not that I don't believe in science," she said. "It's not that I don't trust the institutions that control the narrative. There's just so much we don't know. So much we are not told." I understood now. The flat earth theory, for many, was a symbol of resistance against perceived deception and control. It was a way to reclaim agency in a world where information was often filtered through layers of authority. I decided to share my journey with others, not to debunk or endorse the flat earth theory, but to explore the complexities of belief. I wrote a series of blog posts detailing my experiences, the evidence I had gathered, and the people I had met. My writing sparked discussions and debates, drawing readers from both sides of the argument. Some applauded my balanced approach, while others accused me of giving a platform to pseudoscience. But I remained steadfast in my purpose, to foster understanding and dialogue. I received an email from a high school teacher who had read my blog. She thanked me for presenting the flat earth theory in a way that didn't ridicule her students who were curious about it. "It's important to approach these topics with an open mind," she wrote. "Your blog has given me new ways to engage my students in critical thinking." This feedback was encouraging. It showed me that there was value in exploring controversial ideas, not to validate them, but to understand the underlying reasons for their appeal. As I stood once more by my window, watching the horizon, I felt a sense of peace. The journey had changed me. I no longer saw the world in terms of black and white, or right and wrong. Instead, I saw a spectrum of beliefs, each shaped by experience, knowledge, and trust. The shape of the earth was less important than the quest for truth. It was the journey, the questioning, and the willingness to explore different perspectives that mattered. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, I felt a sense of peace. I had ventured to the edge of belief and returned with a deeper understanding of the human need for truth, belonging, and wonder. The earth might be round or flat, but the pursuit of knowledge was boundless. And in that pursuit, I had found a new horizon, stretching out to infinity, inviting me to explore further. So, if you couldn't tell by now, this was a story. It was not a true life experience that I was detailing or reporting on. But it doesn't change my views on flat earth. It is one that remains unanswered and somewhat intriguing in my mind. I recently listened to a podcast called Down the Rabbit Hole. I actually can't remember the full name of the host. I know her name is Danny. And she presents a fantastic podcast, I must just say. And she really made some interesting points on her one episode about flat earth, and it really got me thinking. Like, once again, I'm not trying to debate science because I haven't got a scientific mind. I don't know all these laws they refer to. Newton's law, this, that, whatever. I don't. I'm not that smart. I don't claim to be that smart. But there are many questions for me that flat earth debunkers don't do a good enough job of debunking. And some things that always remain interesting to me with flat earth is, if the earth is flat, then we couldn't have gone to the moon, which ties into my whole thinking that we really haven't put a human on the moon. I do believe we've gone to the moon in the sense of sending shuttles or satellites or rovers or whatever the case may be. But I actually don't think humans have walked on the moon. So I know that's going to be an episode for a whole another day. So that kind of ties into my thinking. I've heard people say, but if the earth is flat, when you look at the sun, it's round. If you look at the moon, it's round. Yes, I agree with you. Number one, just because someone might think the earth is flat doesn't mean that the other planets can't be round. 100% agree. But if we were going to go on that argument, we are looking at it from above. So if the earth was flat and you looked at it from above, it would also look round, the same shape as the sun and the moon. We can't see the full scale of it, the spherical size, or spherical shape, I should say, like the earth has been portrayed to be. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I know people say, but the earth is flat, can't you sail off the edge of the earth? I would then point to the massive ice wall that would be around the earth. Once again, I'm not saying this, I believe this. I know some people are rolling their eyes like, oh my gosh, Shane has lost his absolute mind. I'm just saying the things that have been mentioned before that do make some sort of sense. I'm not saying they're true, 100%, please, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying they are interesting facts to consider. What if there is a massive giant ice wall right around the flat earth that's protecting us from going off the edge? That would be interesting. It would be interesting if the sun and the moon are just above us and we don't travel around it. Well, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm just saying how bloody interesting it is and mind-boggling it is. And if you just sitting here and saying, well, this is what we were taught in school, it's true. Well, then I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for the fact that you would sit and believe that everything you are taught throughout life is fact. It's impossible. It's proven time and time again in media. There are agendas. And agendas will be pushed, and sometimes they are for our own good. I agree. But it doesn't mean that they are right. It doesn't mean it's factual. It just means someone has a reason for wanting us to believe in what they want us to believe. And if you are listening to this podcast, I'm pretty sure that you have an open mind. I don't expect you to believe every story I tell or every theory I bring up, because I don't myself, guys. I've mentioned this before. For example, chemtrails. I've never believed in chemtrails, and I won't believe in chemtrails unless really great evidence gets put forth to me. But once again, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That's just in my mind. I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to have an open mind. I encourage you to debate in a way that doesn't belittle people or make them feel silly about having their ideas. Everyone is entitled to their own ideas, guys. And no one knows for fact, 100% certain, what the right answer is. We all just have versions that we believe in. So, most importantly, have you enjoyed this episode? Did you enjoy the story? Yes or no? Meg, I hope you make the most speedy recovery ever, so that when I see you again, you can tell me how crap this episode was, or how good it was, or what I should start doing in my shows instead. And yeah, just spare a thought for Meg, everyone, while she recovers. And for those of you that are fighting battles that no one knows about inside, I wish you lots of positive energy, good vibes, prayers and thoughts, and whatever you need to get through the day. And just know that if every day you wake up, that's another battle you have won. So good on you. Keep going. But the most important thing that I will close the show with today is when you go to sleep tonight, you switch your TV off and the lights go off, and the night goes still, and you start to hear a scratching noise, don't forget to look under your bed.